Welcome back, guys. Automotive Inc. Today we're going to talk about a touchy subject. Is the 7.3 Powerstroke the best diesel ever made? And can it beat a current day gas engine? Well, pound for pound, we'll break down some facts. Guys, the 7.3 diesel made with Navistar and Ford was a great engine. Manufactured between 1994 and 2002 and a half-ish. You could get it in a 2003, but that's when the 6.0 was introduced, is late 2003. It was a dang good engine. Is it the best? I don't think so. Was it good? Yeah. And I think it'll go down in history as one of the top 10 in the pickup truck segment. I think it's going to go down as one of the top 10 engines for sure. But did you guys know they made a 7.3 IDI in like 88? Non-turbo? It was a dog. I've driven them. The only thing that made it fun is it rolled more coal than a charcoal grill, and it smoked, and you could get, a manual transmission, which made it fun, but it was a dog. Prior to that, it was a 6.9 IDI. These are all decent diesel engines, but they were dogs. What really brought the 7.3 to life was in the introduction of the turbo and really bringing it into it. That being said, recently had a friend that got rid of a 7.3, a 2001 7.3, and no, it wasn't a 500,000 mile motor that everybody says it'll stretch out to be. It didn't even make it to 200 before it had already been a top end rebuild. It was a maintenance nightmare for him. Now, there have been people that have said that a non-modified, non-molested, non-tweaked, performance upgraded 7.3, those engines, well maintained, could last, Lord only knows, but they're saying 300,000 to 400,000 miles. Well, yeah, any engine well maintained and not abused should last quite a while. Now, what did he get? You got to be thinking he went with the new Powerstroke, right? No. Times have changed, needs have changed, and, well, I can tell you this much. Diesels of that era cannot do what gassers of this era do, and diesels of this era are light years ahead of what they used to be. But with that being said, that 01 didn't have any emissions crap on it, and now the new ones do, and now you can't idle it, and you can't do this, you can't do this, and you got to do this, and you got to do this, and maintain that, and watch out for this. So the needs change. So did he get a Godzilla? Well, unfortunately, with all the lifter issues, no. Drove my 6.6 L8T V8 gas Chevy. It was in love. Now, you're thinking, well, Jeremy, you're just a fanboy of Chevy. Not necessarily, guys. You guys know that I've had so many diesels out there. It's unheard of. It's disgustingly awesome how many trucks I've had. And we have some really cool stuff coming up in the next day or so. So there will be some cool stuff. So you're going to want to, again, smash the subscribe button so you know when that happens. And we are going to put some things to the test. But again, people will argue that their 7.3 Powerstroke can do better than what my truck can do. Well, I think in respects to your needs, I think if we were all pulling like an 8, 9, 10,000 pound trailer, that the 7.3 can probably keep up with the 6.6 gas. Now, we're not even going to put a diesel against the 7.3 because all the modern diesels, other than being a maintenance nightmare, will crush the 7.3. And again, time will be the judge of the 6.6 L8T engine. But you can't fight facts. Now, again, if you're pulling under 10, why not get a 7.3 if you can find one that runs good, doesn't leak oil, doesn't have an oil pan gasket leak, doesn't have valve cover leaks, or all kinds of issues with it? Good luck. You're going to pay right now because the market's so wonky. That is the only benefit, is that truck is somehow maintaining its value. I saw one the other day with 40,000 miles on it. Extended cab, that's useless for most people because you need to haul humans in the back. And they're asking 40 G's. Now, I don't think they're going to get that, but who knows? Maybe they will. If it really is that nice, maybe they go on the that BAT site and sell it for big money. I don't know. But for me, my needs necessitate 15K. And what I can tell you is I don't need to put a 7.3 out in the street and drag race, and I don't need 0 to 60 times on a 7.3 and a 6.6. So here's how it goes: a 6.6 and 7.3. We're going to put them on the line, and we're going to do a 0 to 60. You have slow and a little bit less slow. That's it. I mean, these are heavy duty trucks. They're not made for drag races. So people that hook up their fifth wheel and rip them down the road, congratulations. I don't know what you prove, but that is fantastic. If I want to see a truck pull, I'll go to like Bandamere or something like that and break that down. But my needs necessitate 15K and above. What if I told you you couldn't get that in a 7.3? Not even close. The best one would be like an F650 from that era, or a cabin chassis F350, so that is not going to be what it is. What if I told you that payload wasn't even close? What if I told you that the cooling system, again, you can beef up, you can put thousands of horsepower through different engines. But guys, if your brakes aren't built for it, your transmissions aren't built for it, your differentials aren't built for it, your frames are not. Keep in mind, Ford still had a C-channel frame back in that. They didn't go fully boxed even until, if I remember right, like 13. I'd have to clear that up. But a fully boxed frame, you used to watch the things where Ford would, they go up something and you see them just twist. That was because their frames weren't heavy duty enough, so they obviously couldn't have you pack 15 to 18,000 pounds. Fast forward a couple decades, and again, the truck of the era still has its place. But we have half-ton F-150s, Silverados, and Rams towing more than that generation of Powerstroke. You're probably going to say, well, I don't believe you. Stop your rambling, produce some data. Let's do it. All right, guys. So like I said, I don't need a 2003 Powerstroke to be sitting in my driveway so I can show you. Here's the breakdown of how it all goes. The 7.3 was a 444 cubic inch. The L8T is a 401. Horsepower, 250 to 401. And you can see that obviously the diesel has more torque, but is it really that much more torque in consideration than it has a turbo? If I was to put, say, a supercharger on the L8T, I mean, we quadruple those numbers maybe, or nah, probably not, just double them at least. But I mean, in theory, you think about it and you would think it's just this Mastodon, and that's why I just didn't even need to do it. Simple things say that the 7.3 Powerstroke does not fit everybody's needs. So if you guys think that you're going to pull your brand new fifth wheel with it, you probably should go check your payload, go check your tow weights, your wet weights, and everything like that, and see if that is even the case. Again, to get the big numbers back then, and big numbers, we're talking about 14.5, guys, is pretty measly. Back in the era, it was fine, but considering most fifth wheels back then were actually heavier, it's kind of crazy to think that people were putting these through the ringer. Now, if we go down to max payload, yeah, it's kind of close. It's off by about 400 pounds. And if you jumped up to the F350, you'll get a little bit more payload. But $29.55 versus $33.99. And these are not one-ton specs. These are F250. I did sprinkle in F350 fact down at the bottom, though. We go to max conventional tow, 12,500. You would think that's a lot of weight, but again, we have half tons doing that now. The L8T Kong in the driveway, 16,000 conventional tow. And then we're not even going to break down tongue weights because, again, that's not really relevant because it's truck specific. But if we go over here to your max tow at fifth wheel, you got 13.7 guys and 18.4. The best you're going to do in 2003, and again, keeping in mind that the weights increased every year from 2003, from its inception in 94 up, it got better. So it's only going to get worse. The older you get, it's only going to get worse. 13.7 fifth wheel, 18.4 for Kong. And again, you go down here and you get 13.9 conventional tow with an F350 built as a super cab, long bed 4x4 dually. That's the only way you get those specs. All right. But now you're going to say, well, Jeremy, the 7.3 got way better fuel economy. Well, actually it didn't. I mean, the Godzilla still reigns as probably the best gas engine fuel economy I've ever seen in my life, a consistent fuel economy until I had the engine issue. But guys, the data's out there. Let's look. Again, there is nobody that was taking a 7.3 Powerstroke up Eisenhower Tunnel at 50 mile an hour, getting 22 miles a gallon, going into a 60 mile an hour headwind. Although there are people out there that might have gotten better because fuel economy can be dictated based on your driving habits. I'm just going to show you the data. And it's kind of fun that people have put this out there. All right, guys. So 1999 F250 7.3, based on 92 vehicles, 5,300 plus and almost 1.9 million miles. 14.82 is the average. And as we go up, you're going to see something interesting. So 2000, you got 14.7. That's out of 3,900 Phillips and 1.2 million miles. So this ain't just jibber jabber. I'd say this is a pretty good average. I'm sure there's not going to be a bunch of outliers out there getting 22. As we go up, keep watching these numbers. 2001 F-250, 13.62, so 66 vehicles, 3,700 plus fuel ups, 1 million miles, 13.62. 2002, we go down to 13.38, 68 vehicles, 5,000 fuel ups, and almost 1.9 million miles. And the last year of the 7.33, 13.38 is the year before, so 12.59, guys. 17 vehicles, 1,300 fuel ups, and just under 500,000 miles. And that truck was getting 13.38. So you're probably thinking, why was that fuel economy going down? Again, EPA restrictions started crushing the diesel before we even know it. Before anything, all this even happened, it was crushing the diesel. So here we are, guys. The data suggests that that is not the case. Now the L8T, the best I've seen was 18.5. On average in the city, I get 13. Now this doesn't talk about if it's towing data or it's just average data. I'm assuming it's average because they probably would have said if it was towing. But I've went through forums. My experience with 7.3 is about 11 towing. And I've heard that the L8T people are getting 8 to 9. However, I get about 11.5 combined with mine, and that is just how it goes. And at the end of the day, guys, this video, I knew it's going to burn some biscuits. I hope it creates some conversation, because there's going to be a lot of people out there that are just diesel fans, period. There will be no replacement ever. Gas engines don't replace diesel engines, and there is a place always for gas engines, especially now that gas is doing so well. However, this was a fun video to make based on some recent context, and the content we have coming up, I think, is going to put just a fun little spin on things. We're going to have a lot of how-to content and whatnot coming up. But can your 7.3 truly out-tow, out-muscle, out-go a modern gas? Nope. That's all there is to it. Guys, I appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you on the next one.